All right. 4:03 p.m. and we'll call the February 18th Middleton Tourism Commission meeting to order. The first item on the agenda, as always, is any discussion or approval of the last meeting's minutes, which occurred on January 21st. Anybody have any discussion or like to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a second?
Second.
Todd seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Hotel updates. I feel like we're already discussing them, but yeah, like I stated earlier, our transient booking pace is down currently year over year in the month of February, which means that we were seeing more just organic reservations being made by travelers through our website. Last year in comparison to this year, I don't have an explanation for why that might be, or a percentage difference, but it is backwards year over year, so that's kind of concerning. Other than that, Q1's looking like it's going to shape up probably pretty close to budget for our property, which is positive. We had a good January. February is going to be tough. We were talking about that. We're probably back about 60,000 in guest room revenue in February. And we'll be back about the same in banquets and catering revenue. So we're going to miss budget by about 100, 120-ish thousand, which makes it pretty tough to and budgeted profit margins as well. So that's kind of my update currently.
Was there a group that you had last year that we didn't have this year?
Yeah, we're missing some group. There's 3 groups that just cycled out of the area. They go to around the state. But overall, that's a huge contributor to our dollar amount that we're missing budget by. But that was foreseen. What was not foreseen was the slowdown in booking pace from leisure guests.
Okay.
Well, and I haven't seen January star reports yet. They haven't come out.
Yeah.
I expect them today or tomorrow yet. I got my P&L prelims today, so I have a general idea how my 2 select brands did pretty well in January to budget, in year over year. More so in occupancy. We beat occupancy budget, lost in rate, but total revenue was positive. My Residence Inn, they budgeted me up in January and February, and last year I had Cooper's Hawk grand opening team in.
Yeah.
$60-some thousand that we can't replace, but they still expected us to budget up year over year.
Of course.
So we're not going to do well in first quarter at the Residence. The other 2 hotels, February's looks like a struggle. March, we're still have our fingers crossed and a little bit optimistic. And initial looks at April seem okay. So I don't know, like he's saying, the BT is down. I mean, that's the big killer.
It is.
And it's been a race to the bottom. I'm hearing from people outside of the Middleton area where, they'll email me or call me and it's like, what's going on? And, I get a snippet of an Expedia posting where a number of the Middleton hotels are playing in the 70s and 80s on certain dates. Well, that's the way it is out here. So.
So for director's report, this is the super, super fun part that you guys have all been waiting for. You saw the finance report in advance. Let me see if I can find, 1 second. I thought I had that open. Here we go. Okay. Just 1 second and it'll pop up. Okay. There's a little bit of a delay here, so just bear with me. So you guys did have an opportunity to see the finance report in advance. This should be darn close to accurate. When I did it, we hadn't received the official check from one of our properties, but we knew what the amount would be. And so I factored that in. And then we hadn't paid Destination Madison for Q4, but I knew what that would be. So I factored that in. So this should be very, very close. I actually went through line item by line item against every single payment that we had in SharePoint versus Cassell. So I think because I was very impressed. So right off the bat, you can see we had anticipated a room tax intake of 1,425,496, and we actually ended up with 1,588,822. So that was 163 and change more thousand than we expected, just on the revenue side. And then these kinds of things to just draw your attention to. We do receive a credit card rebate program, so that factors into the overall revenue. And we had these two things were counted as revenue, and I left it in here because otherwise the accounting of it all is a nightmare. But what that is those are the two roof repairs. So the roof repairs came out of our contingency fund, and when the insurance companies repaid us, it had to be inputted into our account as revenue. There was like no way around it. And so that's where that comes from. But our overall revenue for the year is right there in yellow. So 1,593,739. I couldn't be happier with that, even though I know it was a struggle all year for all the properties. You all came through very, very well for the room tax. So just to go through very quickly on where we were, because I'm sure you're kind of wondering when we get down to the revenue over budget, you're probably going to be like, what? And this is why. So we had budgeted for our grants. This is what we actually spent. So this is what was, this column is what was still on the table at the end of the year that we could have given in grants, but we just didn't have the applicants. We didn't turn down a single grant request last year. There were maybe a few inquiries about things that we couldn't consider because they weren't tourism related. But every conference that asked us for money last year got as much or more even than what they had asked for. So this just tells me we need to keep the word out. We need to do more to make sure that people understand that this program is available. And in sports, that 10,000 was only one grant. So we had only one piece of sports business come to us, and that's the one that's happening this year in April, hockey. And advertising, this never happens, so please don't expect this next year. But I ended up leaving almost 30 grand on the table. And why, I will tell you. So there were a couple of map projects that I wanted to do, and I didn't have time because, as you all know, from February till September, I didn't have a Maggie. And so I was running triage. We were looking at social media posts, and I was like, wow, I wasn't doing a whole lot back then. So there were some projects left on the table also to save money. It costs about $800 to have an ad designed by our agency, and I did all of them but one, I think, last year. It saved us quite a bit of money in the long run. And then the visitor guide, we had budgeted 40 grand because I wanted to do a complete and total revamp. Again, not having a marketing manager on hand, I said no. And so we redid pages. So like I added a Capital Brewery featured page for their 40th anniversary. We added some stuff in and we swapped some stuff out, but we didn't completely redesign the whole thing. We gave it what I would call a good refresh. It looks a little different, but it's not like top to bottom. Promotions, that is also completely unprecedented. We were purchasing things very late in the year, trying to figure out what exactly we needed, trying to save money, and we ended up saving money. So, and we have what we wanted. And so that's just nice right there. Destination Madison, we did underestimate how much we were going to pay them. We ended up paying them to 270,110. And so that is the only column where, of course, we were higher, but that's the moving target column. Vehicle expenses, they ask us to, I get told by finance what to put in some of these. We didn't use that much in fuel. We didn't drive that many places. Visitor Center project, the reason there was money left over in there is we didn't get around to doing the video. And you guys, when you walk through, you didn't see everything. The new sign is there, the new display case, the new console table, chairs, the TV. The really, really cool part, which is in the packet, shows the mural that Laura's working on with Alpha Graphics. That's going to go up. And then we're going to have 4 canvas prints of historic photos go up. We're just waiting for those things to get done and to get on the list of install, because part of the price was they're going to install them for us. And then the video is a project we're going to try to retackle this summer. It just got to be a lot. And considering the fact that we have to go through the local historical society on approval on a lot of things, we were just running out of time. Salaries, we've ended up saving, I mean, unintentionally saving money there, obviously, because we didn't have an employee for several months. And then if you look down this lane, again, training and travel, we have a lot of money left in there because I ended up not doing any professional development. And then, of course, we didn't have a marketing person. And so, and for me, it was just things got too crazy and I just couldn't get away because it was all before we had hired a person. And the research, we didn't do our strategic plan last year, and that was $50,000 set aside. So that's kind of like the biggest part there. The part that's exciting is the revenue over expenses is we are $479,766 in the black. So that is money that will be transferred to our tourism fund balance. And this number right down here, $3,767,084, does not include everything, because when I was running that account, I could tell that not all the 24 expenses had been taken out. And this isn't one where I trusted myself to go through and try to figure out all of the accounting for it. I'm just waiting for the accounting department to finalize that. But we always want to keep enough that we can run our center for at least 2 years without a single penny in case there's a recession or another pandemic. So we are definitely to the point where we have those funds. And so if there's another project that comes up like the CXC cross country ski trail, we have the money to support something like that. I was just mentioning to the staff, the city's looking at possibly adding another trailhead for Pheasant Branch closer to one of the main roads. And we could give a grant for wayfinding, a wayfinding map, like one of those big maps behind the plexiglass, picnic tables, things like that, because that's a tourism development. And I would be so on board with this because it would be so much easier to give tourists directions to that off of a main highway than the ones that we do. And it's like the first time you come to Pheasant Branch, it's just nice to have an easy access point, and then you discover more every time you come. So that's something that I kind of put a bug in the planning department's ear, that if they're looking at that project and they're getting to something where they're like, well, we can't do this because we're required to have a picnic table or we're required to have these things. I'm like, think of us. We can provide a grant for some of those things. So does anybody have any questions about the this is the 2024 final finance report. Oh, hi Todd. Thanks for joining.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
I don't know, do we need to vote to approve this? I don't think so. I think it's just a report. Okay. Well, upon reviewing it, if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I can explain things a little bit better, or I can tell you what something was done. In the 2024 Tourism Annual Report, I do have a graph that shows you exactly what every single grant was for. So if you have questions on that, we'll get to that too. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. All right, this is going to be the tricky part. PowerPoint wasn't working for me sharing as a co-host. So she is going to share my PowerPoint, and then I'm going to attempt to just talk her through with a click.
Is everyone seeing this okay? People that are virtual?
Are you seeing the Middleton tourism report?
Nope, don't see anything yet.
Oh. Let me see my, oh yeah, it's not. When you went to share,
Try it again here. Mhm. I think I didn't go in through that way. Let's try this now. That looks better.
it looks like it's thinking about it.
Now we can see it.
Okay,
Thank you.
1 second, do you see? It's not showing the slideshow.
But it is on mine. Mhm.
Well, that's annoying.
Yeah,
'Cause this was the whole point why we had you had to do it.
yeah.
Okay, hang in there, guys. All right, I'm just gonna share mine then. Because if it's not going to let you show the whole screen, then I might as well just do it. So go ahead and, okay. Yeah, this is me, right?
Now I'm confused. So,
Yeah, why on the screen it looks the way that it does?
yeah.
Doesn't matter. Who
Okay.
cares? You guys
Right.
can see it.
Yeah.
I'll just watch the laptop screen instead. Well, this makes me really frustrated. Hold on 1 second. Don't do anything.
Okay.
You shouldn't be because you shouldn't be the one who's. There we go. Okay, we're gonna have to wing it because none of my notes are visual, showing, but that's okay. We're gonna do this. All right. Okay. So this is just an overview of the 18-page PDF that I sent to everybody. And can you guys see that first screen that says what is tourism's mission?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, excellent. Okay, I'm going to go through, this is hopefully going to take far less time than going through the entire PDF, but please do take a look at that PDF that I emailed to you and let me know if it is missing any information that you are specifically interested in, any analytics, if you see any problems or questions. I can always edit this or add to it. This is pretty much, it's for you guys because I am required to deliver an annual report. And I give one to the city as well, but they actually don't require this much information. But I just think that it's very good for us to go forward historically to have all of this, because it also includes in the back what our goals are, community outreach, achievements, and even a section about the roof repair. Okay, so when we think about tourism and what we actually deliver, what our main goals are, we come down to pretty much what you could call four goals or 4 pillars: marketing, direct sales, economic stimulation, community outreach. And this page just kind of shows you kind of how you would categorize those things. So marketing, obviously, we are marketing to the leisure traveler and the meeting planner and group bus tour, and all of that is connected to brand awareness. But direct sales is also the meeting planner and group bus tour. And local economy would be how the city receives 30%, how our travelers spend when they are here. Our tourism economics report in 2023 said that 35 million was spent in Middleton, or accumulated in Middleton, in local and state taxes. So that's lodging, that's restaurants, that's absolutely all of those things. And local spending. And so then it was 200 million in 23. I won't have 24's data until this June. It's always a year and a half late. And then in employment in 2023, it was reported that we had over 1,600 hospitality employees, which was 4.7% higher than 2022. And 2022 is sort of what we're using as our new base year. You know, it was our first year after the pandemic when we were more whole than we were in 2021. And then for community outreach, which we added because a lot of people don't realize that we are mandated to use our funds for tourism related means, marketing, tourism development. But we do set aside some of those funds to help with community outreach. So Laura leads a winter clothing drive. We've donated to Way Forward for housing assistance. We've donated to the Chamber Sip and Sample. We've donated to, we have gone personally into the high school and given presentations and given out swag too. And we've created things like stickers for stroll and tells and things like that. So that's just kind of how that is all categorized to give a visual. So when we're talking about target audiences, who are we marketing toward? This target has completely changed almost like every other year that I've been here. I took business traveler completely off. When I moved here, business traveler was the blue circle. And now I've completely taken it off because it's really not measurable anymore. And again, you guys chime in if you don't think this is correct, but from what I understood, the groups, conventions and events and sports groups were the ones really carrying us the last couple of years, and along with leisure travel. And then bus tour is probably our smallest here in Middleton. And then for our DMAs, the designated marketing areas that we target the most are Milwaukee, the Cedar Rapids, Iowa area, and Northern Illinois / Chicagoland. We've targeted these for years. Milwaukee and Chicago have been our targets for longer than I've been here. We added Cedar Rapids a couple years ago. And the reasoning we go by this is because they seem to be our strongest drive markets. And it still falls within Travel Wisconsin's research data. So we aren't doing anything that they aren't doing. In fact, we got into Iowa just before they did, when their research was starting to show. There are other emerging markets, parts of Minnesota and Indiana. We can start talking about whether or not we want to start dipping into that in the future now that it looks like we would have some extra advertising funds. So sales efforts. This is really where Laura could probably present this whole thing. But bus group tour sales were brought in-house in 23. Following the pandemic, the person we used to partner with was no longer available. And so Laura graciously took that on entirely on herself. So she attends 3 to 4 group tour trade shows a year now. We are always looking for partners. If there is a hotel salesperson who wants to partner with us, or if you know of a group operator in the area, we're happy to foot most of the bill as long as the person is selling Middleton hotels. But it would be nice to get a partner because this has become a lot of extra travel for Laura, and some of them are overlapping. We have, so one of the things that she does is she sets up individual interviews with planners who have listed an interest in Wisconsin. And when she attends, she has a planner sheet. It's a 4-page sheet talking about Middleton, the hotels, and the attractions. She usually takes a small gift, follows up with the people who say that they're interested. And this graph just shows a little bit of how much it costs to attend, how many appointments, and then the cost per meet. And some of these might seem very, very high, but like Select Traveler looks like it's a great deal, except the majority of the people she was meeting with didn't have a choice in who they were meeting with. And so they weren't necessarily people even interested in Wisconsin. So we aren't going back to Select Traveler. We're going to stick with the bus tour groups that allow the meeting planners and the destinations to correlate better with who is actually interested. Circle Wisconsin is always the best bang for our buck. It's huge. It's very well organized. In addition to, so we're a sponsor for that. Laura attends her meetings, And then she also stands at the Circle Wisconsin table for a time, and it's one of the most popular tables because they give out cheese and cranberry juice and old fashions and things. And so right now for 2025, we are, she just got back from American Bus Association. We're still doing Circle Wisconsin, and we're looking again at NTA. And NTI looks really expensive, but those are people who are much more interested. So we're trying to figure out whether or not the ROI is there, which is the reason why we sent an email out to hotels to ask, have you seen any bus tours? You know, we've been asking the Muster Museum to let us know, has a bus tour come by? Is the seed that we're planting working? But since we've only just started in 23, it could be another 1 to 2 years before the people she met in 23 get us on their cycle. So we're just continuously watching this. We're still actually spending less now with Laura going than we were when we were partnering with someone. And I feel like that we're getting better data. But I would love to find out if there's another bus tour or a meeting planner group out there that people think would be beneficial, and if there's someone we could partner with on funding some of that. So here's a breakdown of our tourism grants so that you can see Destination Partnership Grant is always the largest, partly because of the CXC Outdoor Center. But this has also become sort of like our catch-all grant, which is the reason why I'm going to go through and try to rewrite some of the criteria and the applications this year. Because this includes both hotel events, but also sponsorships. So things like the Bachfest marketing sponsorship is here, but so is the Wisconsin Track Coaches Association. So I'm going to look at that and see if there's a way. I don't want to make it more complicated for counting to try to like bust up this this one account, but I think that there might be a way to break this down to grants versus sponsorships too. And in some cases, such as the History Bus Tour, like that was being offered during Mustard Day Festival. So we knew, and I mean, it booked. It filled completely. It was so successful, they're talking about maybe adding 1 or 2 this year. And so that just kind of gives you a breakdown of where we are on what some of the grants were. And actually the Midwest Tool Collectors Association, we paid that grant in 24, but that was actually bestowed upon them like 3 years before. So some of these grants take a little bit before we get paid out. Okay, so how do we market to meeting planners? This is just a very quick look. These are only 2 of the ads. Wisconsin meetings is 4 times a year. Midwest meetings is twice. And I change the ads every single time because a lot of the meeting planners receive the exact same things. So I don't want them seeing the exact same ad. So the 2 magazines will run different ads. I swap out photos. I try to keep it as fair as possible, but I really, to be completely honest, I only have pictures of the Marriott and Hilton and Courtyard. I don't really have pictures of any of the others, but since those are our main conference spaces, that makes the most sense for the meeting planner anyway. But I'll take new photos anytime anybody wants. This one of the Marriott, though, I will say is the most popular. We will actually get people who have actually called Laura and said, where is that and what is that? And so, and then she can say, oh, well, it's this. Oh, if you're this size of meeting, maybe you're thinking something more like this. And it's a good image. But we kind of, the photos I choose, I try to show off the locations, but also there is stuff to do after your meeting. I have been to conferences where there was nothing to do after the meeting. So leisure marketing, I'm going to start down that route. The visitor guide is probably our #1 for, even though there is a section in there for the meeting planner. This was the 2024 guide that I was really happy with it, and I still love that Mustard Museum feature. I might bring back again, but it didn't make it into 25 guide. Leisure ads. So I thought I would pull out just a couple for you guys because I realized most of the time you never even see these. But that little guy was actually in Go Explore Midwest. The big one, the full page one right there, was in the 24 Badger football program. And then that half page ad was in the 24 Brewers. And then I do actually, in the report, I do have how many clicks we got. If I remember correctly, both the Badger and the Brewers only got 16 clicks. So I'm not sure. I think I signed us up for both this year, but we'll have to see. We might not be continuing the Brewers one for sure. So going on into paid social, I'm gonna have to pull this up. I can't see my notes. So for paid social, these ads were the ones designed by Belter and Lincoln, our marketing agency, and then they implement them for us and give us our feedback. For them to place these for me, I pay less than I would for an intern, so it's been a wonderful partnership on that. But we do both video and stagnant. And let me see here. The platform Facebook, the impressions last year were over 6,662,000. Clicks were 198,441, which was a 9% increase from the click-throughs that we had in 23. And the click-through rate was 2.98%, which is actually pretty good. Let's see here. You don't care about that next part. I'll skip that. We'll go to interactive. So we have so depending on what page you're on YouTube, maybe you're on a weather, station, whatever. We buy bulk ads and we have these different type of banner ads and different ads are placed. Obviously not all of them will appear at once. And I believe that it cycles through. If one is performing better than the other, we can swap them out too. They all just connect straight to our website. The impressions for this are 13,821,000 and change. We've had over 61,000 clicks, which is an 83% increase from last year or 2023. And the click-through rate is only 0.44%. But that's not horrible because people don't like to click on pop-up ads because they're worried about them being spam. The page views that have resulted though were about 12,000 and website views were 73,000 and change. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this later because we can't seem to get the video to play on the PowerPoint, but on our YouTube channel, we probably have about 5 videos now. And we are creating a new one for 2025. We have a 15 and a 30-second commercial bit that goes out on Stream Media. Last year, our streaming results, the 30-second connected TV. So that connected TV, we don't do cable. So it might be on Hulu, it might be on Peacock. I know HGTV is one of the ones that we're on. 30-second connected. For Milwaukee, we had, let's see here, 558,499 impressions and 54,000 and change. I have the number wrong. Gotta check that. Actually watch the entire video to the end. And so our completion rate was actually incredibly good. Our connected TV and YouTube ads served 4 million completed views and 2.25 million more than 2023. And so people are interested enough to keep looking through. And again, all of these are outlined in the PDF. So streaming video results, this is what I was talking about before. Sorry, I didn't have to read it off to you. This is the number I have to fix. I don't think that 5 is supposed to be there. Google search results, just so that you can see, we do paid Google search. And this is actually a pretty good rate right here. Lead generation, anytime you see lead generation on a report, it's actually our sweepstakes. So we use this to drive newsletter. It's brand awareness and it's also engagement, but it's to drive signups for our newsletter. In part, because that's the easiest way for us to gauge how many people are actually participating. Our fall one, food favorites, always goes over a little bit better than our summer. This year, actually, we've decided we're only going to do foodie favorites, fall foodies, sweepstakes, and then take the money from the other sweepstakes, and we're going to do more smaller to medium-sized in-house giveaways. So it might be something like this is just making it up, but maybe we make a specific branded beach towel and do a a lake thing, or we do bean bags, and because we'll have the money to also ship it. Visitor origins. So we pay for Placer AI tracking. And this excludes all Dane County residents, obviously, because otherwise Madison, Middleton would be our #1 visitor. So excluding all of that, Milwaukee is our highest market. And we've known that. I would say that Chicago has gone down a little bit, but right now we've got Milwaukee is 22.3%, Chicago is 11.2%. And you can see how it's changed year by year, that our top markets, some of them have switched spots. And we're really watching it because I feel like Minneapolis and Green Bay and La Crosse, specifically Minneapolis and Green Bay, when you look at the month-to-month data, I think it's hockey. And so, because someone has asked me multiple times why we're not doing more leisure targeted marketing in Minneapolis, and I'm like, well, first of all, it's crazy expensive and you're competing with all these people and it's, 4 hours away. But I mean, I do think that we're getting sports tourism, but we're drawing them through grants. So I'm not ready to spend money in Minneapolis on leisure. I would love it if all the Minneapolis people wanted to come visit us, but I think that they're coming here for sports. So in-house social, this is just a few little, very, very, like out of 400 and some odd posts last year. This is just to kind of show you, we always do something fun for the holidays. This is the one Maggie just did. We do promote local events, whether we create our own posts. I like to create our own posts and then have it linked directly to our website as much as humanly possible. And then we've done some giveaways. And like this one was just this last winter, like it was in December, I think. Yep. And it was 2 people getting free skiing at CFC, and then a bunch of fun little winter stuff, including, hot cocoa bombs that are made locally, our branded hat. So this is the exciting part, right? The Middleton Hotel tax revenue. So getting to look at this, this is quarter by quarter, in case you're interested. I obviously left 2020 off because 2020 doesn't count. 2021 honestly is there just so that we can feel better about ourselves on any given day, because it really doesn't count either, especially the first 2 quarters. But you can tell that the top medium blue is 2024. So in Q1, we outdid 2023, but we still weren't in 2019. In Q2, we outdid everybody. And I think that that's in large part due to Epic moving their conference up a week and opening us up to graduation room blocks that we weren't able to do before. I think that made a huge difference in Q2. In Q3, we were down a little bit. And I was trying to figure out why, but I'm almost positive there was a conference last year that we didn't repeat this year. And then Q4, we actually got a little bit higher, which I was surprised about because of we lost some of that Badger leisure travel. But you guys did a great job bringing something in. You brought some sort of conference in that made up the difference on that. And then I do have it by year. So this gives you just a little bit. Overall, though, we are now we have surpassed our pre-pandemic levels. So that's great. I mean, you do have to consider how much is that inflation, but our ADR is down. So we had lower ADR than normal, but we had higher occupancy rate. We had higher revenue. So everybody from the hotel staff to the partners to hopefully us, we were all doing a good job bringing people here. And unfortunately, we don't seem to have a whole lot of control over the competition in Madison with the new hotels, which I think is probably the biggest thing that we're competing against. But seriously, congratulations, and thank you guys for all of the work that your teams do. Thank you to the people online, because people are coming here for our attractions. People are coming here for our businesses. So the local economic impact report for 2023, again, we won't get 24s until this June. So every year you get a very weird old number, but it's great because you're still being able to look at your benchmarks. So in 2023, our visitor spending grew to 200 million. So that's 13.5% higher. I mean, excuse me, 9.5% higher than in 2023. The visitor spending in 2023, let's see here. Oh, I don't have it on here and I don't have my notes. There is something in here about that, just so you know. Like I had more on there. It's not working. Okay, there. Festivals for you guys to put on your calendars. These are the biggest ones. Obviously, look at our calendar to see all the things that get added. Oh, for economic impact, I just wanted to add that 2023's was a 17 million increase, but also to break it down, 29.3% was from lodging, 27.6% from food and beverage, 20.5% on retail, and 11.7% on recreation and entertainment. We don't have Rock the Ramp this year, just so you know. This is talking a little bit more about community engagement, which is in the PDF, from the clothing drive to some of the gift baskets that we've put together to open houses that we've done where we decorate and open on a Saturday. And these are the goals that we've set out for 2025. Some of these things have been on our wish list, like the 3-year strategic plan. The employee compensation study will be done either through the city or just us. The city is doing one, and I told them that we would pay for our portion because our positions are so different from everywhere else in the city. They weren't going to be able to include us as like a true comparison. So I said, well, if you would have them actually look at our department, we would pay for that because I had kind of budgeted out how much that would be. And then negotiate a new agreement between Destination Madison. As you know, we only signed a 1 year. Complete the visitor center project up front with the new video. Work with the Historical Society on creating new walking brochures. This is Maggie's project where right now they have flyers that are very outdated. And so Maggie's going to make 2 separate, very beautiful brochures, much like our art walk brochure. So it'll have an online map, a GPS that you can actually click on and it'll actually take you to the houses. And it'll just be a fresh look. And we're doing that for the Historical Society. Maggie's taking on all the work and we're taking on the expense. We just feel that enough people click on that on our website and enough people come in asking for that it's time that we updated it. And the Historical Society, they don't have the manpower right now. Update meeting, convention, and bus tour marketing assets. So it's time to look again at our flyers, our 4-piece. I've been hacking away at the website and then the grant program. So we haven't updated those in about 2 years. Work with the Tourism Commission, plus the city departments and sustainability coordinator on a purchase plan for a new company vehicle. In fact, the city just reached out to me and said, hey, when do you want to have a meeting on that? Never, but we will. And then obviously we do have one, like, this is one of those things that I love putting on there because it's gonna feel good to just cross it off. We haven't touched our Pinterest page in a very long time. And with the way that things are going right now with social media platforms and how many people are leaving Facebook, and we've never been on Twitter, but we do have a Blue Sky handle so that nobody else can take Visit Middleton. Same with Instagram threads. But I don't see us getting on Blue Sky or Twitter. And I don't see us leaving Facebook anytime soon. But we have noticed that a lot of other people's strategies have included revamping their Pinterest pages. So Maggie is taking that on and she's already started. And then we're going to just have to look at our social media platforms and what else do we need to look at. So that is all I got. And again, all of that and more is in your lovely packet. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you're like, I'm missing data, I'm missing information, I want to see every single ad that you did last year, I can do that. I can put that into a PDF. So yeah, if you don't have any questions for me right now, we'll move on, but otherwise I can answer anything. So the next thing on the agenda is MASC grant update. I just wanted to let you all know that the grant that we had approved at the last meeting has already fallen through. They aren't coming. So I've taken that off the list.
Do we know who got it?
I don't. Well, when Brandon let me know, he didn't. He just was told that we weren't in the final. We were in the final 4, but then we weren't in the final 2 or whatever it got down to.
Sure.
And then the last thing I have on here, I need to look in my files for this because okay, so staff cell phone plan. We haven't had one since Julie. Julie had a company cell phone. And then when I was hired as director, I was like, I don't really need one because I tried to never use my personal cell phone for work, but it has happened. And there are new state regulations that you have to keep everything for 7 years. So even if you texted me like, where is that PDF? Like I'm supposed to keep those, which I haven't because I didn't know I was supposed to.
Mhm.
And so 2 things about getting a company phone for Maggie and I. We are the 2 most likely to be using our phones to communicate with the outside world, but also Maggie will be shooting photos and video, and it'd be nice to have that tied to a company account. We've had people leave in the past and things weren't saved and we lost what they had done.
Yeah.
And so that to me makes a lot of sense. And for me, because there are times when somebody needs to get a hold of me. So far, thankfully, nothing important has ever been chatted about via text because we just don't have anything that crazy. But I am expected to save every single text between any single person that I work with for 7 years. I don't trust myself to not do a mass purge with everything else at the end of the year. And with a company phone plan, the IT department will automatically like save everything themselves. I won't have to do anything because my phone will be hooked up to the city just like our emails are, and our emails are archived every night. And so I won't have to do a thing, and neither will Maggie. But also it'd be really nice to be able to have all of our marketing material because we're taking more and more photos and video on phones rather than the camera that we have, and having those actually on a company service. So we did not budget for this, but it'd only be about 1,000. Drew estimates about $1,025 more a year for 2 plans through the city. We get some sort of a deal, I guess. I don't know. That seems very seems very reasonable for 2 phones, unlimited data. I do not relish carrying around 2 phones with me, but I think that we're to the point that that's what has to happen. And so for this, if you want to think about it, we can come back in March and talk more. Otherwise, if somebody would like to make a motion to approve that I go forward and purchase 2 phone plans through the IT department for us.
Nope.
And oh, we have a question?
Miller made the motion.
Oh, thanks.
We have a second?
Second.
Todd seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
I honestly thought I'd have to talk you into that.
Get you
Okay.
some phones.
You
All
need
right,
phones.
thank
So
you.
then, you know, if you gotta archive
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I told him, I was like,
Don't lose any of it.
I don't archive my sister's photos of her kids. I was like, oh shoot.
Does Laura need one? I mean,
Yeah, and being able to operate social media and we are always responding to people on that as well. So it just makes more sense.
Yeah, makes
Okay.
perfect sense.
That's all I've got, folks. It's only 4:52.
Super fast. Any items that we should add for next meeting agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
second.
Kevin Bagstad. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you guys.
you.
Thank you, Kate. Have a wonderful vacation.
Yeah.
Hi, Leah. Okay, who's recording?
Where did you say Kate was going again?